Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend.
Buzzing.
Oh, what a great weekend. Tyson Fury regaining the WBC. I'm absolutely delighted for Tyson Fury.
St Johnstone ending Rangers title hopes.
England winning against Ireland in the Six Nations. Exeter Chiefs battering Northampton.
Man City missing another penalty. What else have we got up there?
Should we go to the first winners and do them?
I assume it's St Johnstone.
It's not. It's
What?
Chelsea. This was sent in by Mohaha. What a result.
Or just Moha. I don't think there's a Mohaha there.
Yeah, this is just Moha.
Chelsea ran out deserved 2-1 winners, didn't they? At Stamford Bridge in the London derby against rivals Spurs with goals from Giroud, Alonso and an 89th minute OG by Rudiger. Big Willy Caballero deserved a clean sheet in that game.
Yes.
Didn't get it.
Kept us out.
Team Big Will. Arguably the game's biggest talking point, though, and we'll cover this very quickly because it is a little bit boring now, was the decision by Stockley Park not to send off Lo Celso for a blatant stamp on Chelsea captain Azpilicueta. The VAR team reviewed it, decided it wasn't worthy of a yellow card at the time, before later apologising and admitting it should have been a red card. I think what most fans take umbrage with is the fact that they didn't tell Michael Oliver to go over to the pitch side monitor to review the situation. Quite clearly, that was worthy of a second opinion at the very least.
I don't understand it. They've been told that a red card incident should be reviewed on the monitors. It's one of the few instances you can actually use the bloody thing. Go over and look at it. Just tell him to go and look at it. And the reasoning of he had no place to put his foot other than there is ridiculous.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't think our understanding is that he's not going to face any retrospective action because the referee's already made his decision on the day.
Incredible.
So it's been closed and shut. Massive result for Lampard, though. Let's move on to some of the more positive elements of the game. He made 4 changes to that side that lost 2-0 to Manchester United on Monday, bringing in Giroud. I think fans have been clamouring for that for a while, haven't they? And he was outstanding in this game. Barkley, Mount and Alonso also came on. I actually thought Barkley was okay in this game. Some good off-the-ball movement, always made himself available. You make that face, I think he gets a lot of criticism. Not the best performance, but a useful one. Which sealed just the Blues' second win in their last 7 league games. Their form has been stuttering, hasn't it? 3 draws, 2 losses. In fact, let's go on to Alonso. Since he joined Chelsea in 2016, no defender has scored more than his 17 goals or contributed more than his 28. That's 11 assists to boot as well. 3 of those goals have come against Spurs.
Loves it.
Yeah, absolutely bloody loves it. Deserved victory too. Like we said, Chelsea only had 49% possession, boring, but had 17 shots to Spurs' 5, but 7 on target to Spurs is 3. Spurs completely joyless in this game, by the way. No silver lining for them. Despicably boring. XG had it at 1.7 to 0.3. The Lily Whites' cumulative XG from both their league games versus Chelsea, 0.5. So even before the striking epidemic, still not firing all cylinders up front. Did they have Harry Kane in that period? Perhaps not. Subsequently, Lampard becomes the first manager to do a Jose Mourinho side home and away. the Paduan becomes the Jedi Master. The Portuguese, he's already wishing the season's over. Let's hear from him now.
I think I'm going to be repetitive. I would love to be on the 1st of July. I would love to be in pre-season. I would love to be working with Harry Kane, with Sissoko, with Sonny. But that's not possible. And we have 3 long months to go in 3 competitions where we are still. It's going to be 3 long months for us.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely 7 days for Jose Mourinho's men, quite frankly, hasn't it? Obviously, 6 days on from beating Villa 3-2, where they scraped that result.
Yeah.
Quite fortunate, thanks to that Engels howler. But that game was kind of marred anyway, wasn't it, by the Son broken arm in the first minute. He went on to score 2 goals and celebrate. He's then been ruled out for the entire season by Jose Mourinho. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen. But we're taking it at face value, so that's him and Kane out for the foreseeable future. And I would say, okay, that's a problem. But I think arguably as big a problem is at the back. They had 5 at the back at all times on the weekend and still looked incredibly vulnerable. They've conceded 2 or more goals in 10 Premier League games away from home this season. That's their highest tally since 2008. And Jose's meant to be a bit more of a defensively minded manager, isn't he? That seems to have gone out of the window. The lack of ambition, I have to say, was quite frankly startling. The 5-4-1 with Bergwijn up top, I felt sorry for Bergwijn. The ball was just being whacked at him, and he's so isolated, had no one around him. Lucas Moura didn't have his best day, and I'm being kind.
No, but he did try. He did try.
Yeah, and their midfield 4 of Lo Celso and Ndombele Winks, and I suppose Lucas was kind of an attacking midfielder at times, just didn't really do anything. Created just 2 chances between them. Tanganga and Davis, the fullbacks or the wing-backs, have to be doing more. They both created a joint combined 1.
Why is Tanganga playing as wing-back, Joe?
Don't understand it. What's the plan here? Tanganga plays as a wing-back, but Aurier plays as a right-back.
In a 4.
In a 4. Why not be playing Aurier as the wing-back in the 5? Because at least it gives you some attacking impetus. Tanganga was so deep in this game. Ben Davis was so deep. It was like having 5 at the back flat all the time.
I would have probably brought Serge Aurier in and played Tanganga in the back 3 because Vertonghen was absolutely howling in this game.
Vertonghen hasn't been good for quite some time now, and there was a moment where I think it was Tammy that spun him and completely exposed him, and it was kind of one of those moments that made you think, maybe Jan Vertonghen's time at Tottenham Hotspur is up. But do you think Jan Vertonghen has to leave Tottenham in the summer? Let us know in the poll above. Anyway, I want to touch, like Chris did already, on man of the match, Olivier Giroud. Has been isolated, hasn't he? At times at Chelsea. Obviously not Frank Lampard's first choice, but I think he probably, after the Batshuayi performance against against Man United midweek, has gone above Michy in the pecking order.
Yeah, I mean, especially after this performance. And the way he's conducted himself since kind of being denied that move to Inter Milan. He's been very professional.
I totally agree. 6 aerial duels won, 4 shots. Obviously, that really well-taken goal with his left in this game. He's been directly involved in 14 goals in his last 14 starts for Chelsea as well. That's 10 goals and 4 assists. So I think he's coming into form at the right time. Given that Tammy's also starting to come back from injury, I think Lampard will be confident now that Chelsea can put together a run of results with Tammy and Giroud and finish in that top 4.
It's an outrageous finish.
It is an outrageous finish.
I don't think people are putting anywhere near enough respect on it.
I know, and it's at the front post, and it still looks like a blindness.
The way he kind of cuts across it as well.
Yeah.
Bloody marvellous.
They have some tough fixtures coming up, Chelsea. They've obviously got Bayern Munich twice. I think they've got to play Manchester City in that time as well. Bayern Munich on Tuesday is the big one. And even Spurs have a tough one coming up as well. Wolves next Sunday. That's kind of like a 6-pointer in some respects, given that Wolves are really on form at the moment. But where do you think Tottenham are going to finish this season? And Chelsea as well. Let us know in the comments below.
Just before we move on to our losers section, then if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hit that button, turn notifications on to never miss a bloody episode of Winners and Losers. Moving on to the latter then, it's Everton, somewhat harshly, coming from Jose Benavides, 23. Jose actually submitted Arteta as a winner, quipping that he wants the Spaniard to be his dad after securing 3 victories in 7 days. But we've opted for their most recent opponents to get him in there for you, Jose. What happened against the Toffees?
Yeah, the Toffees are a little bit unlucky to be going in the losers section, aren't they? But we wanted to talk about Arsenal as well, Aubameyang, Arteta. There's plenty of talking points, isn't there? So we've snuck Everton into the losers because Carlo Ancelotti's men, despite being competitive, still lost 3-2 at the Emirates. And there are some points to be made for them being the losers. They have a dogging record against the big teams, and in particular, Arsenal away. Be it at Highbury or the Emirates, it represents their lowest points per game ratio of Everton in Premier League history, just 0.3. They haven't won in 14 games, and they've shipped 110 goals to the Gunners. That's a record for one club against another in the Premier League. And there are some positives, aren't there? The front 2 in particular, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has come into some great form. There are people talking about whether he should go to the Euros, maybe a little bit early for that, but he is in contention. He has got 9 in his last 12, hasn't he? In this game, he himself produced 5 shots, an XG of 1.3, a really physical performance, and that's what you can expect for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I've heard Ancelotti in the past saying that if he wants to be a top striker, he needs to work a little bit harder. I'm not actually sure effort is the problem,
Agreed,
though,
yeah.
because he really does press hard. He's incredibly difficult to handle in the air. He won 9 headers in this game. I
The
think
spring on him.
he's one of the most dominant physical centre
Yeah.
forwards in the league, despite the fact he is still quite young, isn't he? I want to talk about Richarlison as well, because he became one of just 2 Brazilians to score 10 consecutive Premier League goals in a season as he dragged his side back into contention before half-time. Although it is controversial, I don't think he touches the ball.
Really?
I don't think he touches the ball.
Gets a big toe on it, doesn't
Richarlison. I've watched it a few times. I don't think he touches it.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie, it's robbed me of some fantasy points, which is maybe why I'm a bit bitter.
Agenda. There we have it.
Yeah, I don't think he touches it, but maybe he does. Maybe there's an angle I haven't seen yet. But both of these players, a few weeks ago on Sunday Vibes Extra Time, before Ancelotti came in, I said, look, I don't think either of them will get double figures in the Premier League. So that shout is looking absolutely dog, isn't it? There are now 9 players in Europe's top 5 leagues, aged 22 or under, with 10 plus league goals. And Everton have 2 of them in Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Richarlison looking like £50 million, pretty well spent now, given the state of the market. I also want to say well done to Andre Gomez, returning after 112 games after
Handsome
that
as ever.
horrific injury
Yeah.
that he picked up against Tottenham Hotspur. And he was extremely thankful to be back post-match.
Actually, I need to thank to everybody. The team, they were great. My supporters, the Evertonians, and also like in general football supporters. Everybody has been wonderful with me. Also like other players, other professional players, ex-professional players as well. Everybody has been wonderful with me, and so I need to thank you.
However, the most decisive man on the pitch in this game, spitting in the face of expected goals, was Arsenal captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. His brace took him to 17 goals for the season, level with Jamie Vardy now in the race for the Premier League Golden Boot. And that match-winning strike came 20 seconds into half-time, prompting one of the best faces on the sideline from Ancelotti all season. Stunning stuff. As the Gabon international bravely stuck his head in, it's got to be said, under pressure to seal victory for his side. His match numbers were as follows: 2 goals from 2 shots, 4 tackles and interceptions, which was more than Morgan Schneiderlin in CDM for Everton.
I mean, to be fair, it is Morgan Schneiderlin.
I mean, come on, he's improved of late. Most touches in the opposition box for Arsenal on 7, and a clearance to boot as well. He put in an absolute shift, didn't he? Particularly in the last 20 minutes when Arsenal were absolutely blowing out of their arses. The Hitman racked up 22 goals last season. Now sits on 95 appearances for the Gunners in all competitions. 49 of those have came in 74 Premier League appearances. That is absolutely frightening. He is pretty much carrying that side, isn't he? They would be mid-table without him. Safely mid-table as well. I know they're mid-table now, so that's not much of a statement, but safely. His contract is up in the summer of 2021, and there were rumours, weren't there, in January that Barcelona were sniffing. I think they were a little bit stronger than rumours as well. I think they were trying...
Cannot lose him.
No, I think they were really testing Arsenal's resolve, let's say, with a potential bid. They want to snap the 30-year-old up, don't they? But they got Braithwaite instead. Happy days. Unsurprisingly, Arteta is working very hard behind the scenes to convince him to sign on further.
Well, it's our most important player. Stats-wise, there's no question about the impact that he has in this team. So as much as I can and the club can, we will try to convince him to stay with us.
From an established star now to an emerging one, and Bukayo Saka became the first teenager in this game to register back-to-back Premier League assists since Franny Jeffers in 1999. He's an absolute baller, isn't he, the kid?
Yeah.
He's now got 12 goal involvements in 26 across all competitions. The first teenager to hit double figures in the assist department since Cesc Fabregas in 06-07. That is for Arsenal.
Would you take him to the Euros? I think he's in with an outside shout, given the dearth of left-back quality for England behind Ben Chilwell.
And it's also coincided with Ben Chilwell's stuttering form. I mean, going forward, very few people are producing these sort of numbers.
Yeah, there is still a few question marks going backwards, but having said that, there's plenty of question marks over the rest of England's fullbacks in the defence department.
You kind of expect that as well. That's very occasionally you still see the winger in him. He gave the ball away 2 or 3 times at inopportune moments, but Kieran Tierney wouldn't necessarily do that. But him and Kieran Tierney in the same flank's a pretty frightening prospect.
Go on,
George
both fit.
Yeah, well, I mean, as George pointed out in the WhatsApp group,
both fit. Who do you pick?
It's very hard to incorporate them both in the same side if he carries on playing this 4-2-3-1. I think Saka until dip in form.
I respect you, I thought you would say Kieran.
But KT would probably come in maybe for the bigger ties where the defender needs to be a bit more resolute.
Yeah, I think Bukayo Saka probably has more of a future as a winger.
And he'll be scalping teams in the bottom 10 for fun with that
Yeah.
left foot, wouldn't he? Absolute wand. Shout out to Mustafi as well. Him and his Swede in this game were pretty solid.
Not sure about the trim though. Not sure about the trim.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's debate that for a second. So it's a no from you.
It's a no from me.
It's just wrong. It doesn't fit his profile, his playing profile. He should just be one all over, the Dougie Christie special.
Yeah, I'm personally not convinced about a few of the Arsenal team's haircuts. I'm not the biggest fan of the Danny Ceballos top knot, has to be said.
That is better than his rhombus, though, I feel.
Yeah.
As soon as it's out the top knot, I can see him brushing that back and it being a classy number. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced, but I'll let him have it because it was a good performance on the weekend.
all right, fair play. Arsenal's win now sees them rise to 9th in the table. They're still unbeaten in 2020, as every Arsenal fan likes to remind us week in, week out on Twitter, while Everton slip into the bottom half. They're now 11th. The Toffees are a far cry from that side that lost to Norwich 2-0 in late November. But they now face a really tough run. So United at home, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home. So by the time those games are done, they might be lower than 11th, which they probably don't deserve to be on the balance of their performances at the moment, especially that capitulation against Newcastle. Arsenal have a significantly easier next 3 games. West Ham at home, Brighton away, and Southampton away. So the hunt for 5th continues with the Gooners. How are they still in contention? I'm not sure. Guys, do you think they'll secure Champions League football? What an outside bet that would be at this point, but given the state of Tottenham, it could happen. Let us know in the comments below.
Moving on to our next winners. Another reason to be happy alongside what we said at the start of the show. It's Manchester United. This was sent in by MUFC Jacob 9.
Yeah, I suppose we have to talk about Manchester United, don't we? Because their upturn continued here with that 3-0 victory over Watford at Old Trafford. Bruno Fernandes, who was great throughout the game.
Brilliant.
I think a lot of relief amongst the Manchester United fan base that they finally have a midfielder capable of creating attacks. Opening the scoring just before half-time, winning and converting the penalty. He hasn't missed one since April 2016, scoring 13 in a row.
Technique, I would say,
Music
as well.
to your ears after you missed, 4 of your first 6 or something ridiculous of the season?
He's got the Jorginho stutter, hasn't he? I'm not entirely sure how legal it really is.
Yeah.
Because it is just before he takes it. And I think if you stutter, you are meant to retake it that close to the ball. But he just waits for the goalkeeper to fall over and rolls it into an empty net, doesn't he?
Yeah, fair play to him. United are only the second Premier League team to be awarded 10+ penalties in consecutive seasons after Crystal Palace in 17-18 and 18-19. He's got a long way to go before he can be compared to the likes of Milivojevic on the penalty front. All right, come on, let's not mess around. Martial doubled the scoreline with a sublime goal in the 58th minute.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Just
Odsonne
great
Edouard-esque, mate.
Yeah, I mean, been a bit kind to Odsonne there, but great ball by Bruno as well in the build-up to that, and then the feet are just—that's the best thing about Martial, the feet. He has got some holes in his game, but he has a brilliant dribbling ability.
3 in a row for him now. Before Greenwood wrapped up the win late on, and Joe was in a WhatsApp group about 13 seconds after that happened.
Mason, I love you, Mason.
Not a surprising result, given the state of Watford's recent form at Old Trafford. In particular, they've never won an away league match against United in 13 attempts, and they're now on 9 in a row in terms of losses. Do you know who else is on 9 in a row? Celtic in the league. There we go, baby. United were good value for their win, though, of XG at 2.2 to 0.3 in their favour. So better than a lot of the attritional stuff you've been serving up of late. Also bossed possession with 58% and took more shots than Watford, with 21 to the visitors' 7, hitting the target 9 times, 7 more times than the visitors. And OGS was pleased with Bruno Fernandes, and we're not surprised. Let's hear from him right now.
In today's market, I think we got a good deal. I think obviously he's come in and done really well. He's give everyone a boost, so it means more than just getting a player in. You can see the supporters, they're used to players with that personality, mentality and quality, so he's been a big plus.
Yeah, the Portuguese was bloody brilliant throughout the game. It's just a revelation to have an attacking midfielder who wants the ball and who is willing to create chances. But he's not the sort of player I expected when he first arrived. I thought we could be in for a bit of a glamour footballer. who's going to create lots of chances but not do the hard yards. Not true at all. He's actually more of a box-to-box midfielder, much more than I was expecting, and his performance was just brilliant. Obviously, the penalty, he also got an assist for the Mason Greenwood, 3 shots, 3 dribbles, 4 key passes, 85 touches of the ball. Easily the best player on the park. Just great to see Bruno showing up. Greenwood as well, I have to mention him, played on the right-hand side. Not his most natural position, but just a fantastic footballer for an 18-year-old, isn't he? 3 shots, all on target, 3 dribbles, 3 key passes, 3 tackles, and obviously that wonderful strike for the goal. He's now got 11 across all competitions this season. I think 14 goal involvements at just 18 years old in 14 starts is pretty bloody impressive. That's more than any Premier League teenager, obviously. Fred and Matic too. They formed a nice little duo for the last couple of months. Matic finally refining some form. Also got McTominay coming back, so that's really good to see. The Brazilian picked up 2 key passes on the day, 8 tackles and interceptions. His defensive numbers recently have skyrocketed. And it's about time.
I thought you were talking about McTominay then when you said the Brazilian. I was like, has he changed nationality?
No, talking about Fred.
What a gear change.
In the last probably 5 months, he's probably been United's best player. He's just been superb in the midfield, and it's great to see. As for Watford, fans might argue that the game kind of swung on that VAR decision at 1-0. It was quite a controversial handball. It did strike him on the arm, so you know, they have to be given if it ends up in a goal now. But it was a bit more shoulder, I thought. I thought United really got away with one there. And it came off Dawson, didn't he? And he struggled for nearly the entire game, I have to say, at right back. Completed just 61% of his passes, dribbled past more than once, and just generally looked way off the pace. Same could almost be said of Troy Deeney. I don't think he had his best day at the office. Not much of an impact. 0 shots. Managed just 3 touches in our box. The Hornets, 19th in the league now. That high that they had straight off the back under Pearson seems to have dissipated a little bit. 1 point off safety now. It doesn't get any easier. They've got Liverpool on the weekend. United next. Go to Everton. We talked about that a minute ago. Not the easiest fixture given that Everton are in good form, but Ollie has a good record in the big games. And United are putting together a bit of momentum. You know, get Pogba back over the next couple of weeks. McTominay's coming back at the right time. The difficulty for that one is going to be because the Europa League, you play consecutive weeks. Unlike the Champions League where you have the break in between the home and the away leg. In the Europa, you go back to back. So we'll be playing Bruges and then Everton in just 3 days. But I think United stand a good chance. And where do you guys at home think United are going to finish? Can they pip Chelsea to 4th? Will they stay in 5th? Will they fall lower? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Joe_D_Shepherd rounds the show off. Nearly lost my voice then, Joe. Struggling with the old glands with Bournemouth in the losers section. I would not judge you for clicking off this video now as long as it's another Football Daily video.
Oh dear, Bournemouth sunk further into the relegation zone, didn't they, as they lost 3-0 away to Burnley. Matai Vidra back on the score sheet again.
He's on flames.
You know, scored a worldie last week against Southampton, and he scored again this week against Bournemouth after not scoring in 18 months of football for Burnley. So congratulations to Matai Vidra. You're back amongst the goals. But that was not the story of the game. The story of this game was VAR, because it completely turned the game against Bournemouth. Straight away at 0-0, Josh King scores a goal for Bournemouth to go 1-0 up. It's disallowed for a Philip Billing handball. Very similar to the Dawson one against Manchester United. It's very high on the arm, shoulder, but it's nonetheless touched his arm, has to be overturned. And then in absolutely extraordinary scenes, I think it's fair to admit, Bournemouth have a handball incident in their own penalty area, waved away, nothing doing, the referee says. They then go up the other end in the same motion of attack and score through Harry Wilson, celebrates, they think they're 1-0 up. No, VAR decides I'm not having it and overturns the goal, instead giving a penalty for the original handball against Bournemouth.
You love to see it.
Step up and concede. So the game pretty much swung massively on that incident. Jay Rodriguez obviously scoring that penalty. Needless to say, Eddie Howe and the entirety of the Soccer Saturday team were very confused and puzzled about the decision.
So what I think might happen is they might disallow the goal for handball.
It is!
It's a penalty.
It's a penalty.
It's a penalty. He's given a penalty at the other end. They've disallowed the goal and given a penalty. That's what should have happened at Anfield when Southampton had a penalty and you bowled it.
And
VAR controversy aside then, it was an excellent win for Burnley, who have now taken 13 points from the last 15 available, propelling them up the table. Now 8th, just 3 points behind 5th place Tottenham Hotspur. Oh, the Dyche witchcraft strikes again. Typical of their style, they let the Cherries have the lion's share of possession, around 60%. Though still managed 10 shots on target from 16 attempts. Wow. Compared to Bournemouth's 4 from 12. Eddie Howe's team sticking firmly to their short passing games. They completed around 120 more accurate short passes than Burnley. Not surprising.
Who cares?
Not surprising, because Sean Dyche's side and their more direct approach paying dividends here, Joseph. Attempted 72 long balls.
I love it.
To Bournemouth's 45.
I bloody love it.
And it clearly paid off. You know, the Premier League's very own Atletico Madrid back at it. Dwight McNeil, star of the show. Pato doesn't rate him, with his 2 assists and a goal, meaning he's the youngest player to reach 10 Premier League assists since Raheem Sterling in 2014, on 20 years and 92 days. The result means that Bournemouth have now lost 8 of their last 9 away games,
Awful
so
form.
faring terribly on the road. And even more concerning, not scoring in 4 of their last 5.
Not good enough,
Absolutely howling. This leaves them 16th in the table, just 2 points above West Ham in 18th. That said, you've been over it. The defeat did feel a little bit harsh come the end of the 90 minutes. Burnley, meanwhile, have never had more points at this stage of a Premier League season on 37, and thanks to Manchester City's impending European ban, actually occupy a spot in the Europa League as it stands.
Yeah, although when they were in the Europa League, it did affect them a little bit, didn't it?
It did, but they lost to quite a poor Olympiacos side, so
True.
went out on a bit of a whim. Didn't they? Anyway, do you think that Burnley are going to secure European football? What a way to round off this show. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter if you got to this section of the video, because you deserve a reply. Joe, what else have we got to plug on Football Daily?
Go over and watch ERU, where my favourite signing of the season, Martin Braithwaite, will be discussed.
He's the title.
What a performance from the big man. From the Championship to La Liga.
Yeah.
Title contenders.
Said he's not gonna,
Love it,
Said
Martin.
he's not going to wash his shirt because Messi hugged him. He's essentially a fan playing for Barcelona.
It's brilliant to see. Go on, Martin. So they'll be talking about that on ERU over on EFD. That'll be released in an hour, so check that out.
Yeah, and apart from that, the podcast, Stat Wars rages on, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Bye.